Hey there everyone, Brother Birch here. Hey, so we just got out of our class and there were a couple of other things that I wanted to show you guys. So if I run this, this is exactly the same as what we just had in class a little bit ago. Okay, but you'll notice that there are some changes over here from my first commit that I sent out to you guys. So if I look at the server.js file, you'll notice that I don't have that route there. Okay, previously in that server.js file, we had this route that, we'll use app.get. If they type in URL into the parameter, then we'll send back this JSON array. And here, instead, I'm just saying, hey, app.use / and we'll require routes. So everything in this routes file will be used right here. So if I had 1,000 different routes right here, I could put them all into this file, or multiple files, and connect them the same way that I'm connecting this one here. So if I go there and look at it, here's my routes file. Okay. This right here could be the exact same thing. If I put this over here, that would work great. Okay, this right here is what we call an anonymous function. Okay, which would be the same thing as if I declared a function. I will say const my function equals that. Exact same thing. Okay, and in fact, I could even say, hey, I'm gonna actually, before I do that, let me comment this out and let me run this. So I'm going to stop my server and say npm, node index or server.js. App is not defined. Where's that error coming in at? App.get in routes index.js. Whoops daisies. Okay, I could call this apps or app if I wanted to. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, let's see if that works now. Okay, so we're running on 3000. Let's run our request to see if it works, and it works great. Okay, and that's with a little bit of change. This is just, we have our routes file that has this function in it. The only reason why we want to do this is to just make it more scalable. Now, if I have 1,000 routes, it's not all going to be in my server file. My server file will seriously just be the starting point for my application where everything connects. Okay, and then I can have all of my logic, all of my routes, my database connections, and everything stored in other places to make it easier to manage this. Now, what I was going to show you though right here, this is a named function called my function. And if I wanted to, instead of calling an anonymous function right here when that URL is hit, I could just call my function, just like that. Let's see if this works. I'll save that and I'll stop this, rerun it. And let's move that up a little bit. Oops. Okay, let's see if this works. So node server, it's running, no errors, and I hit send request and it's running it just fine. Okay, so it works great using this named function instead. Well, now if I want to put that named function somewhere else, if I want to have the logic for these routes stored somewhere else, and then if I have 100 different routes, they can all be right here, and my functions for all of them can be stored somewhere else. Okay, all I have to do is put that function here and export it. Okay, so I declared my named function and I have it here. I could also use export default if I wanted to, if I only had one function that I needed. But right here, I could have a comma delimited list for any functions that I have. Okay, if I had multiple functions stored here. Okay, so I'm gonna export get names. Get names is imported here. The entire controller is imported here. And so if I wanted to call that, I would just say my controller dot get names, and then we take this function out of here. Okay. So this is what it would look like with the controller implementation. So if I stop this and run it again, route.get requires a callback, function begot object undefined. So let's see what that was thrown. Oh, I thought I put get names here. That was my bad. Okay, let's try that again. No errors this time, that's good. Let's open up our REST file and try sending our request. That's perfect. Okay, sweet. Two other things that I want to show you. First, I don't enjoy stopping my server and restarting it every time I have a change. So I'm going to show you a cool package that I use a lot. I'll say npm install -- save - dev, which will save it to my dev dependencies only. Nodemon, or some people call it node daemon. So this right here, I'm going to open up my package JSON. Now I can run just like nodemon server.js. Okay, and now it says, hey, we're watching this, and it's going to watch for changes. So if I went into my controller and I said, hey, you know what, instead I actually just want to say res.send. We can send some JSON, and yeah, that looks great. That actually doesn't look great. I'll just send some text. Okay, notice like it came through the error, and now it says it's running on port. I should be able to run this, and it just says hello world. Okay, so Nodemon will actually look for changes and watch for changes and rerun your server every time you do it, which is super nice. The other thing that I want to share is just how to debug this. So in VS Code, I'm just going to put a breakpoint to the left of line 2. I'm going to stop my server, and I'm going to go over to my run and debug, and I'll just say run and debug, and I'll say node, and it found my server.js. It probably found that through my package.json in here. So it says it's running on port 3000, which is great. And I'm going to send this request, and it should stop right here. I can actually look at res and see what it is. I can look at rec. Here's my request object. In class, when we were talking about URL parameters, query parameters, all that stuff will show up in here as a part of this request object. Okay. Anyways, so I can use this debugger just like in any other class. Like if you've ever debugged Python, it's very similar, and it's as simple as that to set it up. So anyways, those are the 3 things. I'm going to change that back to what we had here, and that looks great. Notice my debugger isn't re-rendering with Nodemon. Okay, so there is a way to set it up. I'm not going to go into that right now. But yeah, again, if I look at my changes here in version control, package.json had some changes because we added the Nodemon dependency with that command, that install command. Server.js is more lean because we took the logic out of here, or the routes out of here, and just included them in a routes file. The routes file imports the controller to know what functions to call, and will export all of the routes. And the controller will have functions for each route that will export.